Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to give you a brief overview of the 2021-22 Fafsa application. Whether you have completed the Fafsa before, or if you're a new student or parent that is going to be completing it this year, we hope our presentation helps answer any questions or concerns you might have. My name is Julie Almendinger. I am one of the assistant directors in the financial aid office at Canisius College. I have been working in higher education for more than 8 years now. You'll notice at the bottom of this screen our contact information for our office. Should anyone have any questions or concerns, you are more than welcome to contact me or my fellow colleagues. Okay, some of the items you will need today or when you complete your Fafsa are creating an Fsa Id. If you haven't created an Fsa Id yet, it is strongly recommended that you fill one out before you begin your Fafsa. Both the student and at least one parent will need an Fsa Id. To create one, I have listed the web address, which is www.fsaid.ed.gov. The next information will be the 2019 tax information, also known as the 1040. This will be needed for both parent and student if the student worked in that tax year. Next is the 2019 W-2s, again for both parent and student if the student worked. If you have multiple W-2s, please make sure you have all of them. Next, it is highly recommended that you keep a copy of your Social Security card next to you. The name needs to appear exactly as it is written on your Social Security card for both creating the Fsa Id and for your Fafsa. If you are a permanent resident, you will want to have your permanent resident card handy, as you will need to report that number on the Fafsa. I have created a screenshot here of what you will see when you are creating an Fsa Id for new students and parents. Once you have entered all of your profile information in, your profile is going to pass through the Social Security Administration. They're wanting to make sure it is you creating the Fsa Id and not somebody else. This Fsa Id is going to act as your electronic identity for all things Fafsa related. Once you get that confirmation email that your Fsa Id is ready to use, you'll be able to start the Fafsa. So let's start it. Here I have logged into the Fafsa page. I am going to be acting as a student for this presentation. I have already been given the confirmation number or email that my username and password is active to use. You can also use your email address or mobile number that you entered on your Fsa Id in replace of a username. I'm going to click Next. You will be given a disclaimer. This disclaimer, you'll want to read the information thoroughly and accept it if you agree. It will allow you to move forward for the Fafsa. So I'm going to click Accept. This page is really important to pay attention to. So what you're seeing here are two different Fafsa years. Depending on what semester you're planning to attend the institution of your choice, you will want to make sure you fill out the correct Fafsa year. For this particular session, we are going to be doing the 2021-22 Fafsa. I have already started this application, so it is asking me to continue. For new time users, you are going to see a Start button, so please click on the Start button for the 2021 to 2022 academic year. This screen right here comes directly after selecting the Fafsa year, the Save key. This is what you will be creating on a screen is a temporary password. This is in case you get interrupted before you complete the FAFSA, it'll allow you to come back at a later date and have all of your information pre-populated. It'll save it for 45 days. However, if you plan on completing the application in one sitting, it is not likely that you will need the save key again, but still please keep it handy. We're going to click Next. On this screen, each of the arrows is going to give you some questions about the FAFSA. You are welcome to click on each of the drop downs and read the information. But for time with our presentation today, I am going to click Next. The first screen you are going to encounter is the student demographics information. Some of this information should be populated for you already from your Fsa Id profile, but you're still going to want to verify the information for accuracy. If it is not accurate, please go back to your Fsa Id and correct the information and start over. My information has been entered, so we are going to click Next. Here, you'll want to provide an email address and a telephone number to reach you at. This email is really important because not only is this going to determine where all your confirmation about your financial aid and your FAFSA will go, but it will also be used for the financial aid office if there is a discrepancy on your FAFSA application. So please make sure you use an email address that you check daily and a telephone number that you also can be reached at. I'm going to click Next. Here you are going to provide your permanent mailing address. As you can see here, I have already inputted that information. Based upon the previous slide and selecting that I am in New York State, it will ask, have you lived in that state for at least 5 years? I am going to click Yes for this presentation. If you click No, you're going to be asked what state you have been living in. The next question is, are you a U.S. citizen? You'll have 3 options to select. Yes, I am a U.S. citizen. No, but I am an eligible non-citizen. Or no, I am not a citizen or eligible non-citizen. For this presentation, it is geared towards the first 2 options. Yes, I am a citizen, or no, I am not, or I am an eligible non-citizen. Those that are eligible non-citizens, should you select that option, you will be asked to enter in your alien registration number. For this presentation, I am going to say, yes, I am a U.S. citizen, and click Next. For New York State residents, you are going to have this pop up after you have clicked the Next button. This is just to let you know that at the end of your FAFSA, you're going to be allowed to use your FAFSA information to complete your state aid application, also known as TAP. So please make sure before you click out of the FAFSA that you start your state aid application. I'm going to click Next again. Here is still the student information. It is going to ask, what will your high school completion status be when you begin college for the 2021-22 school year? Even if you haven't gotten your high school diploma, it is asking what completion status will you have in June. So you can either select high school diploma, GED, or you were homeschooled. The next question is, what college degree or certificate will you be working on for 2021-22 school year? You can either select an associate's degree, a certificate, or a first bachelor's degree. For our presentation today, Canisius offers bachelor's degree, so we are going to click first bachelor degree. The next question will ask, will you have your first bachelor's degree before you begin the 2021-22 school year? Today we are going to click no, but this question also pertains to students that may have already completed their bachelor's and may be going on to work towards their master's. So they would be clicking yes. But for today, we're going to click no. The next question is, what will your college grade level be when you begin the 2021-22 school year? For incoming freshmen, you are going to want to select never attended college, and it is your first year. This will change each year as you complete your FAFSA every year. The next question is, are you interested in work study? You can click yes, no, or maybe you don't know. Ultimately, if you click yes or don't know, financial aid will determine if you are eligible for work study, and if you are, it'll appear on your financial aid award letter in offered status. We're going to click next. Are you male or female? The response to this question pertains to selecting males. Males between the age of 18 and 25 must register with Selective Service. So if you choose the option male, it will ask you, have you already registered? Or if you have not, do you wish FAFSA to register for you? In this presentation, I am female, so I am going to select female and click next. Here it will ask you to enter your driver's license number if you have one, and the state of your driver's license. For this presentation, I am not going to enter anything, but I am going to click next. On this screen, you will be asked if you are a foster youth or were in the foster care program at any point. In this presentation, we are going to select no. Then you will be asked to report the highest school level completed by your parent or parents. There are a number of options to choose from. If you do not know what your parents earned, then simply click the other or unknown. Now we are going to move on to a new tab called School Selection. Here it is going to ask you to name your high school that you attended. There is a search feature, so you can enter the name of your high school, the city it's located, and the state, and begin your search. It will bring up a list of selected schools that meet your criteria, and you will be able to select from which school that you attended. So from here, I just did Canisius High School. It's located in Buffalo and New York. So I clicked Confirmed Search. And this is what the search criteria came up with. So Canisius High School is selected as number 1. So I am going to click Select and click Next. Next, you will be asked to report what college or universities you're planning on attending. You don't necessarily have to be accepted into all of these colleges or universities just yet, but if you are interested in applying to their institution, you are welcome to report up to 10 schools at a time. So for today, I'm going to pretend I don't know our school code for Canisius, but it is in New York. It's located in Buffalo, and I'm going to type in the school name, Canisius College, and click Search. It is going to be the first one to appear in our search. For those of you that would prefer entering in a school code, our federal school ID is 002681. You'll notice that it does appear in the search. I'm going to select Canisius College and click Next. Once you have entered in the school or schools that you are interested in attending, it is going to want to know your housing plans. So using Canisius College as the school we selected, I am going to click either on campus, with parent, or off campus. For freshmen and sophomore students living within an hour distance of campus, your only options are living on campus or with a parent. When you become a junior or senior, you are allowed to live off campus. For this presentation, I am going to click on campus and then select next. Next, we're going to determine if you're a dependent or an independent student. It will ask you your marital status for the student. In this scenario, I'm going to indicate that they are single and click next. Next, it will ask, do you now have or will you have children who will receive more than half of your support between July 1st, 2021 and June 30th of 2022. Something to keep in mind in order to report children, you do not have to provide more than half of their support between those dates. But if you have a child and somebody else is financially responsible for them, such as a parent or a partner, you are going to want to click no for this answer. The next question is, do you have dependents other than your children or spouse who live with you and who receive more than half of their support from you now and through June 30th, 2022? Again, I am going to be using this as a dependent student, so I am answering no to both of these questions. Next, FAFSA is going to ask you a few more questions depending on regarding your dependency status. If you do not meet any of the criteria listed here, you are welcome to click none of the above, just as I have done so. Before we move on to parent demographics, it will ask the question, on or after July 1st, 2020, were you homeless or were you self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? If you answer yes to this question, you want to make sure you get in touch with our financial aid office, but for now, we are going to click no. So based upon the information that I have already provided, FAFSA has determined that I am a dependent student, which means that I must provide parental information. If you have special circumstances where you are unable to provide parental information, please get in touch with our office first. For this scenario, I am going to select I will provide information about my parent. Now we are in the parent demographics section of the FAFSA. On the first section, it will ask regarding your parent's marital status. The drop down below, you have the options of never married, unmarried, and both legal parents living together, married or remarried, divorced or separated, or widowed. For students who have split parents, you will need to put the parent with whom you will be residing with during the academic year. This may not be the parent who will claim you on their taxes per a divorce decree. If the parent with whom you are residing with is remarried, then the step parents must be included on the FAFSA as well as their financial information. Here I am going to put down parent information. You will want to report their Social Security number exactly as it appears on their Social Security card. If your parent does not have a Social Security number, then you are going to enter in all zeros. It will ask you to confirm, and it will first appear to be an error if you enter in all zeros. But the FAFSA is simply wanting to confirm that the information is correct. After you've provided the Social Security information, you will want to provide your parent's legal name. So for parents with socials, you'll want to put down their name exactly as it appears on their Social Security card. If there are multiple last names should be reported. You'll want to report your parent's first initial and their date of birth and an email address if they have one. Please make sure that the email address, again, that you are utilizing is accurate, because again, financial aid may reach out to the parent if there is discrepancies under parent information. You will then need to proceed to report a second parent if necessary. If you do not have a second parent, you can skip this question. If you do, again, have two parents that are living together but are not necessarily married, but are still remaining in the same household as you will still need to report both parents. So please enter their social, last name, first initial, date of birth, and again, another parent email address. Here you will be asked if your parents have lived in New York State for at least 5 years. It is identifying the state of New York from the student's demographics section question, what is your permanent mailing address? So if your parents have not lived in New York State for at least 5 years, you're going to want to click no and enter in the state that they reside in as well as for how long. In this presentation, I am going to click yes and then press next. Now we're going to move on to household size. In this particular scenario, you will notice that there are 2 parents and 1 student in the household. On the third field of this page, there is an option to add additional family members. If there are children or other people in the household that your parents are supporting more than 50% from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th of 2022, then they can be reported here as well. If you do add them, you will notice that the household size will automatically update. Next, you will want to report how many of those people living in the household are attending college. In this scenario, there are only 2 parents and 1 child, with the child attending college. Now we are moving on to the parents' financials section of the Fafsa. This is where you will be entering in their tax information. So please make sure that you have their federal tax return handy. So for 2019, have your parents completed their IRS income tax return or another tax return? In this scenario, I am going to say already completed and move on to the next question, which will ask, what type of income tax return did your parents file for 2019? You will select from the options below. I am selecting IRS 1040. The next question will ask, for 2019, what is your parents' tax filing status according to their tax return? This information can be found directly on the first page of their 1040. For my particular scenario today, I am selecting married filing joint return and selecting next. Because the Fafsa has identified my parents' marital status as married and my tax filing status as married filing joint, it is allowing me to use the IRS data retrieval tool, also known as DRT. What this will do is transmit your IRS information to Fafsa rather than you having to input the information manually, which can lead to mistakes and errors. So it is highly encouraged that you use this option if you are given the option to do so. So for now, I'm going to say link to IRS. Of the parent information I entered before, which parent created the Fsa Id, whether it is parent 1 or parent 2, they're going to enter in their username and password here and click next. You will get a disclaimer stating that you are leaving Fafsa on the web and being transmitted to the IRS website. Now, because this is a demo presentation and I am not an actual person in real life, it is not going to allow me to proceed any further from here. But what it will show students or parents using this option is the information has linked based upon the Social Security number entered. Do you wish to give permission for it to transmit? You are going to click both options. There is an option saying, yes, I give permission, and then another box that will say, transmit IRS data retrieval. From there, it'll link you back to the Fafsa page, and you will notice a lot of the income information will say IRS data retrieval tool. It will be blocked out for security purposes, but there will be some information you do have to enter that is not available on the parent 1040. So for now, I'm going to click skip IRS DRT. Here I'm going to enter in the information manually. It is asking me, what is your parent's adjusted gross income for 2019? This can be found on line 8B of the IRS 1040 form. So I am entering in, hypothetically, $55,000. Next, it wants to know how much did your parent 1 earn from working wages. This information is found on the W-2 portion. If you only have one parent listed, you are only going to fill in the information for parent 1. If you list 2 parents on your FAFSA, please enter in both information. Next, it will ask you to enter the amount of your parents' income tax for 2019. This total amount is found on IRS Form 1040, line 14, minus Schedule 2, line 2. For this presentation, to make it easier, I have taken a screenshot of the 1040 and highlighted line 14. If this amount is a negative or 0, please enter 0 on this form here. Next, the FAFSA will be asking the following information. The questions can pertain to if the parent received combat pay, if they had an education tax credit, untaxed portion of IRA distributions, and more. Again, this information can be found on their 1040. Each of the questions is going to have a schedule and line that the information can be found on. If you are still unsure of what they are asking of you, please click the question marks. Following, did your parents have any of this in 2019? Child support your parents paid because of a divorce or separation as a result of legal requirements. If you are paying child support, you should not be including those children as part of the number in the household. It is essentially double dipping. If the parent had any earnings from work under a cooperative education program, or if taxable earnings from a need-based employment program such as work study were received by the parent. Now, did your parents have any of the following items in 2019? This is a little bit more information. So, is there child support received for all children that were reported in the household size? Is there housing, food, or other allowances paid to members of military, clergy, or other being received? Are there payments to tax-deferred pensions or retirement saving plans? This information can be found on the W-2 forms in box 12A. You're going to want to list codes that have D, E, F, G, H, and S. Please do not report any amounts that have a code DD, as this is the employer contributions towards their health care benefits. If you are a veteran receiving veterans non-education benefits such as disability, death pension, or dependency compensation, please enter the information there, or any other untaxed income not reported, such as workers' compensation or disability benefits. Once you have entered in all of the information, please click Next.
Okay, we are almost done with parent financials and we'll be shortly moving on to student financials next. One of the last questions under parent information is about parent assets. The government allows for a certain percentage of income protection allowance for your assets. The amount of assets in this question will vary for each student as it is calculated based upon the parent's tax information that we just reported. In the question here, Fafsa is asking me, as of today, do my parents' current assets exceed $7,000? If I were to say no, the Fafsa will allow me to simply click Next. However, if my parents' current assets do exceed $7,000, then I will want to select Yes and fill in the rest of the information, which asks, as of today, what's your parents' total current balance of cash, savings, and checking account information? The next question, as of today, what is the net worth of my parents' total investments, including real estate? Please be sure to not include the home that you live in into this calculation. And then the last question is, as of today, what is the net worth of my parents' current business and or investment farms?
So now that we are done with the parent financials, we are going to move on to student financials. And all of the screens that we clicked on before, we're going to click on the same screens for student. So it is asking me if the student completed an IRS tax return for 2019. I am going to say already completed. It is going to want to know what my adjusted gross income was for 2019 if you are entering in this information manually. If you are using the IRS data retrieval tool, if given the option, this amount will be filled in for you, but again, the information will be stated as data retrieval transferred to protect the information from identity theft. You're going to click Next. Again, how much did you earn from wages? This portion will be found on line 1 of your 1040, but also your W-2s. Again, you will enter the amount of your income tax form for 2019. Again, this is line 14 minus the Schedule 2, line 2. If you need to look back in my presentation at the 1040 where I highlighted line 14, you are welcome to do so. For this particular student, they have 0 income tax. So again, we are going to fill in the following information. Does the student receive combat pay or special combat pay? Did the student receive college grants or scholarships that were reported to the IRS for income? If you're a returning student, did you receive the education tax credits? Do you have any IRA distributions or pensions from an IRS form? Do you have IRA deductions or tax-exempt interest income? Again, all of this information will be listed, and the information as to where it comes from can be found within the question. Next, it will ask, did the student pay child support because of a divorce or separation? Most of the time for a dependent student, this will be 0. Did they learn any, or did they earn from work under a cooperative education program offered by a college? That would be entered here. The last question, taxable earnings from need-based employment programs such as federal work study. If you are offered federal work study, when that year that you worked comes into question for FAFSA, this is where you're going to enter in the information. If you're a new student, more than likely you are going to have 0 earnings for now. Okay, again, still a dependent question, but if you are an independent student, some of these may be applicable to you. If there was child support received, if you have any children, do you receive any housing or food allowance if you are part of a military clergy, payments to tax-deferred pensions or retirement savings, VA benefits, other untaxed income, or money received or paid on your behalf needs to be reported here. So again, make sure you read the information and what it is asking of you, enter the information if applicable, and then move on to next. As of today, what is your total current balance of cash, savings, or checking account information? You'll enter that in first. What is your net worth of your investments, including real estate? Again, do not include your parents' household as an asset. As of today, what is the net worth of your current business or investment farms? Do not include a family's farm or family business with 100 or fewer full-time equivalent employees. Now we're almost done. We're on to the sign and submit portion of the FAFSA. Here it is asking, are you a preparer? This is rare. However, some parents do have a financial advisor that may fill out the FAFSA for you. If you do have that available to you, please make sure you are getting the username and password information from them, also known as your Fsa Id. If schools are needing the student or parent to take care of information, we will be emailing the student, not the preparer. So please at least get the Fsa Id usernames and passwords from them if you are using a preparer. For today, I am going to be the preparer, but I am not a professional. I am going to select no. From here, it is going to have you scroll through the information that we entered through the FAFSA. Please make sure this information is accurate. If it is not, please go back through. You can click on the upper tabs between student demographic, school selection, dependency status, and such, and correct the information. If the information is all correct, you're going to click next. Now we're going to sign the FAFSA. Because the student has signed in using their Fsa Id, they're not going to need to re-enter that information. What you're going to do, under Student Signature Needed, click on Provide Student Signature. It is going to ask you to read the information before proceeding. If you agree, click on the I agree, and then click Next. It is then going to ask you to sign this FAFSA. Please make sure that you click on this button and not Next. It will not actually sign the FAFSA unless you click the actual button, Sign this FAFSA. Once you have done so, it's going to take you back to the Sign and Submit page, and we are going to need a parent signature. So you are going to do the exact same thing that you did for a student under a parent. You're going to provide a parent signature. Depending on who you listed as parent 1 or parent 2, make sure that you click on the correct parent and enter in their Fsa Id. They're also going to be given the same reading. Please read over the information and click I agree, and then Next. Again, they're also going to have the Sign This FAFSA button. Please make sure that they click that button before clicking Next. Once everybody has signed, you're going to see both parent, student, and parent have signed with their FSA ID, and click Submit My FAFSA Now. Congratulations, you have submitted your FAFSA. Some of the information that is pertinent to you, you're going to be given a confirmation number to let you know that it has been submitted. Also a DRN number, also known as Data Release Number. In case you did not list a school that you are interested in attending, you might be able to give them the DRN number, which will allow them to access your FAFSA data, but ultimately you want to go back into the FAFSA and add their school code so they get the information automatically. If your state offers state-based aid, depending on the state that you listed as your permanent mailing address, it will have this link, Start Your State Application. For New York State students, this is referring to your TAP application. Please make sure you do not click out of this page without clicking the Start Your State Application. It is going to take you directly to the TAP website for you to complete the TAP application. For this demonstration, I have taken us to the TAP website. This website address is www.hesc.ny.gov. When completing your TAP application, you're going to want to make sure you have your New York State taxable income, also known as your IT-201 portion of your tax information, again for both parent and student. That is going to be what your state aid award will be based off of.
We hope you have enjoyed our presentation here today. If you should have any questions or concerns, please get in touch with us. I have again included our contact information here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.